Hi guys, it's Enrique here. Welcome back to the channel. And guys, listen, this is going to be a complete banger of a video. And the main reason why is because I decided to put together one full course where I go through the high level process to start and then scale your SMMA agency or info product business. This video has the potential to change the way you do business. And guys, if you cannot stay focused for, I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes or however long this video is, guys, you're going to have a hard time in business. So make sure to actually stick to the end and pay close attention, take notes. And if you want to join a community of agency owners, coaches, and consultants, make sure to join our community. It's 100% free, and I will post exclusive content inside. And you can make a post, introduce yourself, and join the community, okay? That would be number one. Number two, if you want help in the implementation process of what you're about to see next, make sure to go to the link in the description. Go and click the link. You will go through a funnel. You will see if that's something that resonates with you. If not, no worries. You can still consume the free content. It's going to be more than enough to land your first couple of clients. And if yes, then 100% happy to do business with you. Last but not least, if you would like to talk with me one-to-one personally, I don't do any sort of impersonation, or I don't have a VA sending random messages to people. If you want to send me a message on Instagram or Twitter, I'll be happy to have a chat and basically diagnose with you in a one-on-one conversation what you can start improving, just my way to add value to the world. And yeah, that being said, let's hop to the video and hope that you enjoy. Bye-bye. I want to go over the entire roadmap, and I want you just to pay attention specifically to the different steps that you need to take in regards to where you're at in your journey. You will be seeing in the screen in a second that there are going to be two different phases, and your focus as a founder needs to change accordingly depending on where you're at the moment, plus the actual milestones that you need to be hitting in order to get consistent results for your marketing or sales agency or coaching business. So let's get straight to the point, since this is probably going to be a longer video. So guys, you can see here that there are going to be two specific stages for starting and then scaling the company, okay? So the hunting phase, aka stage one, that is where you focus on your foundations. This is where most of you guys that are watching this video are probably at. So this is going to be pretty much where you start choosing your niche, solving the problem, creating an offer, and I will go in depth into every single stage of the journey. We're going to specifically focus our efforts in this hunting phase, okay? In a separate video that I'll be releasing soon, I will go into the second stage. That is where we start talking now about inbound infrastructures, outbound infrastructures, in order to start onboarding a sales team that is going to do outreach at scale, etc. But I want to focus first of all again in this video, okay? Without wanting you guys to get mad at me, I'll be honest, this is a little bit of a clickbait title because I don't want you guys to just stick to the concept of marketing agencies or SMMA when you are talking about this roadmap. Yes, like I said in this past video, it's possible that what you guys want to do is actually just do marketing for businesses, and that's okay. This is going to 100% work for you, but what matters most is that you actually focus on solving problems for people. Because if you are not solving problems, I promise you that you're not going to make it, not now, not next year, not never, okay? And this 2023 is the perfect time for you to actually grab your balls and start taking action to actually solving actual problems out there, okay? So focus on problems to solve instead of business models. Right now, you're focusing on the foundations of your business, and everything starts with the executive decision to start a business, right? You maybe saw Iman Gatzi's video, whichever person you saw on the internet, and you said like, hey, you know what, like I think that this business thing is right for me, so you decided to start. So you made the decision to start the business. Then what happened was that probably you got into Facebook ads for e-commerce stores because that's where you saw that sales training video from Iman Gatzi that went viral. So you said, hey, this is so easy, we'll start pitching Facebook ads to e-commerce stores. You noticed that it was not as easy as it seemed, and now you are here watching videos on how to actually book meetings, right? That whole reality on business, guys, is that when you made the decision to start a business, you need to start with identifying a group of people that you want to serve. You don't want to start by the service line. You don't want to start by the skills that you have. You don't want to start with your offer. You want to start with the group of people that you're looking to serve. Because if you actually start with those people, you can actually interview them. You can actually see what they are looking for. You can actually go to different places where they gather and understand what their pain points are and what they are looking for. And now that you have that data, you can focus your entire attention to see if, for example, you have an acquired skill that you can sell in order to help them solve that problem. Or if, for example, you should just spend a little bit of time understanding the craft of that thing that is going to solve that problem for these people. So you start by choosing the micro niche, okay? And by the way, if you guys are really married to the idea, e-commerce is not a niche. Let's not even talk about micro niche, okay? When we're talking about micro niche, we're talking about specific group of people with names and last names that you can serve. If you guys think about micro niches, I just want you to see the following. So over here you have a market. Over here you're going to have supermarkets. Over here you're going to have niches for these submarkets. Let's say that your niche was coaches, and then you have micro niches, okay? When we're talking about micro niches, it could be, I don't know, let's say fitness coaches. Fitness coaches is a micro niche. So I want you guys to start with this. Understand, first of all, decide the market, then the sub-market, then the niche, and then the sub-niche. And the biggest problem that a lot of people have is that because they don't understand this, they go and say, hey, I help e-commerce brands do whatever, etc., right? And honestly, guys, e-commerce is an entire market. That's not even a niche, okay? So you need to start with a market like e-commerce, then sub-market, it could be like clothes and apparel, that might be a sub-market. Then you can go into actual niches like, I don't know, apparel clothing for men, and then micro niches might be like apparel clothes for young men. I don't know, that's just an example, okay? So you want to go a couple of miles deep when it comes to actually choosing the people you want to serve, because now you're going to have a clear roadmap on what you need to help them with specifically. So getting clients is going to be easier, your messaging is going to be easier, and everything is going to be easier from here on out, okay? So this needs to be done in order to continue to this next stage. You need to identify a painful problem that you are able to solve for them, okay? So if you actually decide to stick with, for example, fitness coaches, of course, everybody is going to think about the same things, like, hey, the biggest struggle is just booking calls and closing clients. But honestly, if you actually start to take the time to do a little bit of market research, or actually see what things they are looking for specifically to solve in their exact syntax, in their exact language, you're going to notice that maybe that's not exactly what they're mostly looking for, like the most painful things for them. Maybe the most painful problem that they need to solve is, I don't know, let's say, is getting photos of their clients so that they can have before and after pictures, so that they can market and have case studies for their clients. So if that's the case, guys, you start to notice a specific set of trends, and now your entire marketing messaging as a business is going to be all around that specific subject, okay? So you gotta start small, understand that specific segment of the audience, so that from there, and you having that background, everything is going to just be way easier, okay? So thus far, you already have a group of people you want to serve, and you identify the painful problem that you're able to solve, okay? And this is crucial, because people say, okay, I identified a painful problem that I want to solve, but honestly, guys, you don't need to only think about the immediate consequence when it comes to solving the problem. So you need to be even 2 steps ahead. So let me give you an example. We have come to a point in time where, honestly, it's not enough to simply solve the biggest problem that they have right now. You need to solve all of the problems that are going to be before actually getting the goal that they're looking for, and the ones that are going to come after they have the outcome. So let me give you an example. Let's say that, just to keep it safe, we have a cold outbound lead generation agency, right? And what happens is that a lot of times people actually have the problem of, hey man, I don't have enough calls, so we of course help them, and now they start having a lot of calls. But then what ends up happening is that they say, okay man, I'm having a lot of calls, but maybe I'm not closing that many, I'm closing 5% or 10%. Then the biggest problem from here is going to be, and this is what we notice for our specific clients, is actually helping raise that closing rate. So without having to change anything in the actual lead generation or cold outbound process, you're going to make way more money, even double or triple your money, by simply closing 2 or 3 times as more people than you would have before, okay? So again, that's just an example of what we did as a company. But what matters is that we actually understood what was the painful problem. Again, not having meetings on your calendar. Of course, we need to solve all the problems in between, like finding the leads, qualifying the leads, promoting the offer for you, and then of course booking the meeting. Like that's of course the biggest problem that we solved. But then we also needed to see how we can actually help these people that now have calls in their calendar close the meetings, okay? So that's just an example on how you need to be thinking after you actually identify the painful problem, is to create the offer, okay? And just so you guys know, the offer is literally just the outcome that you deliver to your client, and this outcome is basically just naturally going to solve this problem that you're helping them solve, okay? So that's just like the natural progression. So now that you have this offer, all you gotta do, guys, is record a simple BSL, our value sales letter. I actually have a video about a BSL is, or how you can use it for yourselves, and how you can create one. But you want to record a simple BSL, or optimize your social profiles. Again, if you are using DMs to get clients on Twitter, Instagram, wherever it might be, your actual profile is pretty much a landing page, because you can have an I help statement, can have your unique mechanism. Of course, ideally you want to have a link that sends to the actual BSL, but you want to have some sort of identification criteria in your profiles. But you want to optimize your social profiles and have 1 or 2 pieces of evergreen content in your profile where you're doing outbound. The reason why, just so you guys know, and specifically 1 or 2, is because you want to pass the expert test. So if you go to my profile, for example, of course I don't really use Instagram for acquisition or for outbound, but I honestly don't have anything business related. Everything is from my personal life. So if I start to sell YouTube ads for gym owners, what is going to happen is that a lot of people are going to be like, oh dude, like this is crazy and everything, but I love the idea, but honestly, I don't even know who you are. Why should I trust you? Why should I hop on a call? So it's important you have 1 or 2 pieces of content that actually reflects the topic that you're talking about, so that everything is basically starting to click. And also, here is the first stage of the feedback loop that is going to help you start your company, okay? Because you will see the process in a second, but you want to start by creating your offer. Now that you created your offer, you want to start doing organic outbound campaigns for client acquisition. And again, you might be using cold email, cold calling, outbound DMs, whatever it might be. But pretty much what you're wanting to do right now is, now that you have an offer, is put that offer in front of people to see if they buy or not, okay? So that's pretty much the feedback loop. You want to see if they buy or not. Right now, you don't have to be thinking about absolute perfection and having everything ready, because guys, I promise you, the thing that you start doing is not going to be the thing that you end up doing. But not because you need to be niche hopping or because you need to change your service line. It's mostly because what you had in mind in terms of what it takes to deliver results is never going to be attainable if you're just getting started. So now that you have organic outbound campaigns, the only feedback you want from people is if the niche buys or not, okay? Because people say, hey man, the best way to validate your company is by having market research. You need to find product market fit, etc. Some people say, for example, that you just need to search what the influencers are saying and what people are searching for in YouTube, for example. And honestly, I mean, all of these things, of course, give you some data. But honestly, the biggest way for you to know if somebody is interested in what you're having to offer or not is if somebody actually pays you to solve the problem. If people are not buying from you, yeah, of course, it might be your sales skills, it might be that you're not booking calls in the first place, etc. But if you have a really good offer, guys, I promise you, because this is going to happen once you actually have a good offer, and you'll remember me when that happens. It's super easy to sell, okay? It's easy to sell if you have a good offer and people are interested in what you have to do. I'm not saying that you're going to close 100% of your calls, but I'm just saying if people buy, that's the maximum feedback loop that you need, okay? If people don't buy from you guys, you need to basically start over again in this feedback loop over here and basically create another offer, record the simple BSL, organic outbound campaigns, and see if the niche buys, okay? This is the process. This is the feedback loop. Create an offer, organic outbound, niche buys. If they don't, then create another offer, organic outbound, niche buys, etc. I want you to notice that I'm not saying that you need to change the group of people that you serve and that you change the problem you're trying to solve. These two things always stay the same. What ultimately only changes is this part over here, okay? Now, here's the thing. Now with money in hand, you're going to be able to develop a unique mechanism that is going to differentiate your company. Because the biggest problem that people have is that they grab a script or they start using the same mechanisms that everybody else is doing. And ultimately, yeah, they might have a client. Like of course, at this point, we have clients. But you need to be able to do something that nobody else is either willing to do or is actually doing, regardless if it's hard or easy, simple to do, okay? And that's really crucial, guys, because otherwise you're going to always stay with 3, 4, 5, maximum 10 clients, and scaling is going to be a pain in the ass, basically. You're just going to be seen as a commodity, aka as the guy that runs Facebook ads for real estate agents, or as the guy that does YouTube ads for info products, okay? You need to be able to have different unique mechanisms that allow you to separate yourself, ending up in, of course, happier clients, better results, more actual domination on the craft because you're going to be specializing in one single thing. And last but not least, you're going to get clients way easier because it's just the new thing that is different from everybody else. So for us right now, just as an example, we've been thinking about going really, really hard into something that we want to call cold email 3.0. And of course, I don't want to reveal anything right now, but the whole point is that cold email 3.0 is not doing cold email, okay? Cold email 3.0 is going to be, just so you guys know, using pretty much inbound marketing principles to your cold outbound campaigns. And that's something that we're trying to push to the marketplace really, really soon. And again, stay tuned because that's going to be life changing. That's something that we are going to start using on top of different other things. But the thing is that if people start to hear about me talking about cold email 3.0 and how you don't even need to just send straight sales pitches by cold email, then guys, I promise you that you're going to at least say like, wow, I want to hear about that one thing, right? It sounds interesting. And now if you start hearing what I have to say about cold email 3.0 and you actually like the thesis that I've been developing, chances are that you're going to want to do business with me, okay? That's like, of course, in a summarized fashion, what developing a unique mechanism looks like. And then you need to see if this mechanism actually delivers results for your clients. Once you actually have this part of the equation mastered, then it's all about collecting testimonials and share case studies, and from there it's going to be way, way easier. Like the biggest part is this thing. Because this thing, I mean, everything from identifying the group of people to serve all the way to developing a unique mechanism is a pain, right? But once you have this part in the equation, then you're pretty much going at stage 2, looking to scale, and boom, everything is going to get easier from here on out. If you cannot deliver results with that unique mechanism, then you just gotta keep selling until you actually have a unique mechanism that is going to deliver results, so that these results actually end up in something super unique that nobody has heard of, and that's where you get the actual money, and everything gets way easier. Afterwards, of course, we're going to the farming phase where you start talking about outbound infrastructure, inbound infrastructure, etc. But that's for another video. And I just want to go over the typical challenges that people face in this stage of the journey, okay? Right now, this was just like the roadmap. And again, as promised, that's the roadmap, right? That's how it is. But typically, the most common challenges that people have at this stage is that right now, the entrepreneur is the same thing as the business. Guess what's going to happen? The only thing that you need to be doing right now is getting your life in order, because the person behind the business is going to be literally the business in itself. So you need to be, and that's why people right now talk about this hustle culture, etc. And it's not that I am a fan of hustle culture or anything, but the point of hustle culture, that the Gary Vee is, that these bigger people that just talk about you gotta grind your ass off, etc. They have one point, and that one point is that when you're getting started, what you do as a person is going to directly impact the results that you get from your business. That's why when you're getting started, at least, you need to be extremely focused on just your business. Basically, stop drinking, stop going out. Like some people like to say, go monk mode. But it's not like these things intrinsically have something that makes your business being successful. What happens is that when you actually get your life in order as a beginner entrepreneur, your business is going to be in order. So you're going to start to have data, you're going to start having immediate feedback from your business. Again, that's why I just want to make a really big emphasis that at this stage, what you gotta be doing is getting your life in order, having routines, like doing 4 or 5 hours of outreach per day. If you start having 1 or 2 clients, dedicating time every single day to actually build systems for fulfillment, build systems to get your clients results. And guys, this is the key at the beginning. Like, you need to be doing everything, and there's no fast track to this, by the way. So if you are thinking that you can just get clients and delegate everything to a media buyer, guess what happened? Maybe at the beginning, there's not going to be an issue. Guess what's going to happen once you have 2, 3, or 4 clients and you don't even know how to run an ad set on Facebook? What is going to happen from there, guys, is that your clients are not going to have results. You're not even building the actual skill set to manage the people that are going to actually do the work for you. So what is going to happen is that everything is going to get screwed, your business is going to crumble, and nothing is going to actually skyrocket from there. What you gotta be doing from here is building those routines and start to build the habits and take your business seriously, okay? Now, that's the first thing. The second thing is offer a niche certainty, because of course, by definition, an entrepreneur needs to solve problems, right? We're on the same page on that one. But if we're doing something that nobody has done, and that's what we should do, like solving problems that nobody's solving right now, of course, we're going to be uncertain, because we are not sure on how to exactly solve it. We're not going to be certain if people are going to be willing to pay. But here's the thing, with high risk comes high rewards, and that's, I guess, what most of you guys are looking for. So of course, at this stage, you're just simply uncertain about everything, and that's okay. Of course, with a roadmap like this one, you're going to have more clarity, you're going to be able to move forward in a more secure way. But honestly, guys, it's normal that you feel uncertain. What you gotta do from here is just basically do a lot of volume, because as Alex and Moses says, volume negates luck. The third problem is little to no lead flow, and that's completely normal, mostly because, of course, you're just getting started. You can't expect to have referrals or anything. You can have your immediate network of friends or family bring business to you, but that's honestly just like coincidence, okay? So it's normal that you have little to no lead flow. But again, I just want you to understand that these are the problems, because if you actually know this and you start your business, you're going to come ready and prepared, okay? So the biggest milestones that I want you guys to have in this stage of the journey is discovering service to market fit, if there's actually a need for what you have to offer, developing a unique mechanism different from everything in the marketplace, building basic skill sets. You're going to need to do sales, content marketing, appointment setting, fulfillment, coaching, whatever it might be. Depends, of course, on your core offer and what you do. And here's the thing, it's not like you need to have a super productized business right now. I actually think that you should sell the world right now, have scalability issues early on, so that you can start seeing what works, what doesn't work, and just do what works. But you want to start standardizing your deliveries. And what I mean by that is that, for example, let's say you're doing cold email lead generation as a service, okay? You want to start building SOPs so that once you have a VA or somebody that is going to be the manager of operations for that specific deliverable, delegate that part to them, and they are going to understand how to do it, so you don't have to take 1 step forward and 2 steps back to explain, okay? So it's important to start standardizing your delivery over here and understanding what's the key movers that actually drive results for your clients. And last but not least, your focus as an entrepreneur, this is the biggest part of everything, is getting your life in order, as I was saying before, and just fucking execute. Because right now, it doesn't really matter about your optimized system to drive conversions and improve a conversion from your ad spend by 1%. What you need to be doing right now is just book meetings and close deals. nothing else matters. For this video specifically, I want to go over the 2 things that you need in order to start scaling your agency, and most importantly, how to actually identify the bottlenecks that are going to prevent you from going to that next stage, okay? This is going to be part 2 of the training. This is going to be mostly for once you start having your first clients, how to actually start ramping up the volume, delivering client results, and last but not least, of course, start developing a brand for your agency that is going to help you to get inbound leads and scale the volume for your outreach. So yeah, guys, let's start with a video right away. Okay, guys, so as you can see here, we're going to start talking about the farming phase. And just a really quick recap, the other day we were talking about the hunting phase and the actual foundations of your business, starting with the executive decision of starting a business, choosing a micro niche, identifying the problem you're trying to solve, creating an offer, organic outbound campaigns for acquisition, identifying if people actually buy, assuming that people buy, developing a unique mechanism, assuming that you develop that unique mechanism, is this mechanism actually delivering results, and assuming that you're delivering results, collecting testimonials and sharing case studies so that everything is easier from here on out, okay? If this is already done, good job, congrats, you have clients, you're ready to scale. Let's go to stage number 2. Stage number 2 is the farming phase, and this is where you want to start talking now more about consistency and focus, okay? Not saying that consistency and focus is not important in the first stage. Of course it is. It's just like for you guys that are looking to scale, you're going to resonate with what I'm about to say. What happens a lot of times is that you start having clients, you start having money, and then for some random reason you are like, okay, I started making money, oh, I will do something different. And that's the problem. You want to actually keep doing the fundamentals, the basic stuff that people start neglecting once they're trying to scale, because they think that scaling is about doing new things, when in reality it's about doing more of the same things, with the only exception of content. And I will show you what I mean by that in a second. In the past, it wasn't really clear, to say the least, the timeline of, hey, you start with a business and then you come from here to here, and it's just a simple line. Over here, guys, you're going to notice that there's immediately one thing that changes, and it is that there is not a straight line, aka there are 2 different roads that you have to do simultaneously, okay? And these 2 roads is actually building an outbound infrastructure and building an inbound infrastructure. So let's start with outbound, okay? Because right here, you were doing your outbound campaigns for client acquisition, and you have maybe just 1 or 2 pieces of evergreen content just to nurture the acquisition over here, okay? But over here, guys, you want to start taking things a little bit more seriously when it comes to your inbound infrastructure, but you will see what I mean in a second. The first thing that you want to do is start to set KPI baseline to prime outbound. And what I mean by that is that you want to have a minimum amount of actions when it comes to your outbound efforts that you need to be hitting on a daily basis, or of course, even better, delegate that to an SDR, a VA, or setter, whatever it might be, that just bumps up the volume. So in the past, if you were using Instagram or Twitter DMs in order to get clients and you were sending 50 outbounds per day, now you want to start doing 300 outbounds per day. And by this stage, guys, you want to pay somebody to help you with this, because otherwise you will basically destroy yourself and your mental sanity trying to do outreach, delivering results to clients, creating content, and doing everything that you need to be doing, as we will discuss over here in a second, okay? So don't be cheap and pay somebody to actually do the heavy lifting when it comes to outbound, okay? And you need to be setting KPIs. And KPIs is not only, hey man, you need to send 300 messages of hi to random girls on Instagram, right? You want to actually have a dedicated script, an entire flowchart, a process. We've talked about this a little bit more in the channel before, so you can go and watch other videos. But what I'm trying to say is you want to have a baseline number of outreaches per day that you want to hit, delegate that to somebody, have a framework to actually know how to answer it once people reply, how to add them to a CRM, etc. And just focusing on improving this every single day. So maybe it's just for simplicity, 100 outbounds per day. Typically, we want to identify the actual conversion from message sent or reach out to actual reply. Let's say, just for the sake of example, 20%. From those 20%, how many of these actually translate to calls? Maybe it's 10% of that, so that's 2 calls, etc. That's just an example, okay? By the way, it's going to also depend on the channel. So for example, it might be called email, it might be Facebook, it might be Facebook from your personal, from your Facebook group, it could be Twitter, it could be Instagram. All of these things matter, and you want to have KPIs for every channel, okay? That being said, you set the KPIs to prime outbound. Once you start priming outbound, you start to scale outbound efforts and traffic, aka more volume. And the only way you can do this is, of course, you cannot be at two places at the same time doing more work. You need to actually hire somebody that can do the scaling volume, okay? And that's why we were talking about hiring those SDRs that can just do more volume. And pretty much you want to make sure that people are hitting the KPIs, meaning that if it's taking, if you know for an absolute fact it takes 100 messages to book, let's say 5 meetings, you want to start seeing if these people over here start hitting these KPIs that you set for yourself, And if not, you want to start setting different baselines or priming the outbound, aka training the people in order to actually get the results that you were before doing by yourself. Okay, of course there's going to be a learning curve. You as the business owner are the one that knows better how to do these things, but as people start to get trained and they start focusing on that one thing only, they're going to become better. They're going to actually surpass you, and you're going to be glad that I tell you to do this. Okay, so again, you want to make sure that if these people are not hitting KPIs, then set either different KPI baselines or keep training until they actually perform on KPI, or of course even better, improve it. Okay, that being said, from here you also want to start thinking about the following, because in the past we were trying to just sell the shit out of our offer. Over here what we're wanting to do is now see if the current offer is scalable. Assuming that the offer is scalable, then of course you need to keep focusing on KPI optimization and doing more volume and just repeating this process over here till infinity. Okay, if not, if you are not having an offer that is scalable, what you gotta do is pretty much is the following, and this goes this is the process you want to follow from here to here. Okay, you want to either optimize the onboarding process, meaning that if the biggest bottleneck was, you know, that you close a client today, they said they wanted to start 3 weeks from now, so you are like pending on this, and because you are pending on this client, you're waiting for this client to reply, you stop doing the outreach, or you stop focusing on the actual CRM from the other people. I mean, you know how of a mess it can be, the actual onboarding process. So you want to optimize the onboarding process. If this is done but you still have bottlenecks, then simplify or delegate client delivery, meaning that let's say that you were in the past doing cold email outbound, cold email lead generation, and cold calling lead generation for local businesses, for example. Then let's say that you know that 90% of the results come from the cold calls. You might think about just going straight up for the cold calls, remove the entire hassle of just cold email, and focus on the cold calls. Of course, that's just an example. If it's vice versa, focus just on cold email and cold calls. If you're doing Facebook ads, and on top of that you're doing CRO and email marketing, but you know that most of the revenue for your clients come from, let's say, CRO and email marketing, for example, then what you want to do is just 100% go to that, all the way to the point where you're looking to scale. If this solves the problem, awesome. If not, this is the next solution, is hiring a client success manager. And what I mean by hiring a client success manager, guys, is not necessarily, I mean, of course, it's going to depend on your business model. For example, if you are a coach, you want to hire a client success manager that handles questions from your clients. If you are having a marketing agency like a SMMA or paid advertising agency for e-commerce stores, for example, you might want to have one person that handles entire client communication and campaign management, for example, and just make sure that everything is on KPIs on top of the media buyers, for example. So the point I'm trying to make is you want to start off by just optimizing the onboarding process. Maybe that's enough for you to actually keep scaling. Once that this is handled, you want to start delegating or absolutely simplifying the delivery process. There are going to be some things that really don't matter. So you want to start taking the things off the offer. And last but not least, you might want to just start hiring somebody that just keeps on pushing with the fulfillment, okay? And this is the actual client success manager. Assuming that this is fixed, of course, by this point, the offer is scalable and you just keep focusing on KPI optimization, okay? This is the process on outbound infrastructure. When it comes to, and actually this is in full transparency, like this is up to this point, we're not talking about outbound infrastructure. This is now about offer, but still I just want to put this in KPIs, okay? That being said, I want to see the connection here and how all this plays together, like the things that you were doing before plays together to the inbound infrastructure. You want to start adding channels where you now have traffic that you own instead of traffic that you either earn or traffic that you buy, okay? Because again, a follower is not traffic that you own. I've seen some guys talking about, do like traffic that you own, like Instagram followers or Facebook friends, or do like, that's not traffic that you own. Like traffic that you own is like the emails that you have from the person, is the people that you have in your newsletter, is the people you have in your Facebook group where you actually are the owner of the group. That's traffic that you own. And emails more than anything, to be honest, but you get my point. What you want to start doing here, guys, is you want to start building a community and owned traffic, okay? And what that means, guys, is that these people that you own, you can start selling to, and you can have an outbound channel that is just focused on getting people from here, from this community or this asset that you own, to actual paying customers. Because some people might not buy now, but they might buy in the future. And you can use this community to actually promote your content so that people get warmed up and they actually start understanding your mechanism more in depth, and they get super pumped up to buy from you. And what I'm talking about mostly, and I think that this is the best bet for everybody, is Facebook groups. Like everybody should start having by this point a Facebook group where you actually answer questions, that you invite people to post, that you are seen as an authority, because just by pure goodwill, you will start getting clients later down the road. And that's what the purpose of this community is all about. And this is literally the center of the inbound channels, okay? But before we start talking about this, let's start talking about the inbound infrastructure. Because just so you guys know, I'm not saying that you need to be an influencer or anything like that. When I talk about inbound infrastructure is how you can leverage content, brand, and the scalability of content to actually support your acquisition channels, whether that's called email, Facebook, etc. I have an in-depth training about how we specifically do this. It's like a 1 hour long video that you can watch if you wanted to. But the most important thing is you want to use your content and your inbound infrastructure that you're building to support your acquisition, okay? And typically what this looks like is you want to start building evergreen engines and branding pillars in YouTube. And what I mean by evergreen engines is pretty much something that gets you clients inbound. Like for example, if you run a cold email lead generation agency for IT companies, and you start creating YouTube videos about how to make your IT company book meetings with cold email, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to start having inbound leads that are going to directly book calls. So that's the first use scenario. And also you want to start creating what we call microwave assets. And these microwave assets is pretty much, again, videos that on top of getting you inbound leads are going to support your outbound infrastructure, okay? And what I mean by that is that, let's say that you are doing cold email and cold call as a service for these IT companies, right? So you might get replies from your cold email campaigns, but from the IT companies. And what you want to do now is that these people that reply to you, you might send them those specific videos so that they consume the content, and then they get easier to book a call with you and buy from you because they know, like, and trust you, okay? So this is what I mean by evergreen engine, because it starts getting you leads, but it also promotes your offer and incentivizes people to reply to your follow-ups on cold email, for example. And by the way, I talk about YouTube specifically because I think that is the best platform out there, because it has the video component, it has the audio component, of course, it has everything that it allows you to actually demo how you do things. And that's why I think that YouTube is better. But in case that you are using a podcast or even a Google Doc, that can work really, really well. Again, what matters is that you start putting yourself out there, okay? We don't want to be influencers that do business. We want to be business owners that have influence over other people, okay? Now, the traffic that you get from this content should go strictly to the community or the own traffic that you have. This is the whole goal. The whole goal with YouTube videos, with content, is not to make people buy from you, because right now, unless you are a big influencer, you're not going to get inbound leads from these platforms. You need to use these platforms to support your acquisition. I know that I've said like 3 times that already, but that's really important. You want to just have the call to actions of making people join your Facebook group, because again, this is going to be a winning circle. Because now you have people in your Facebook group, you start creating more content, and every time you post, you let the other people know. It's just a winning scenario. And then, of course, these YouTube pieces of content that you have, you can just repurpose to content on short form platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, whatever it might be. So it's even more and more traffic. And here's the big thing: as business owners, we don't want to be all of our days just recording videos and blogs and lifestyle videos, because guys, we don't have time for that. We need to deliver results. We're business owners, right? If we're business owners, what we gotta do is the most bang for our buck when it comes to content and our marketing efforts. So the best thing you can do is just record videos, and then also delegate this to a VA or a content agency, and literally just allow them to repurpose this content that is going to fuel more this engine over here, okay? That's the roadmap. That's literally the roadmap, because this community that you build, that can be a Facebook group, it could be a school community, Telegram, WhatsApp community, newsletter, etc., is going to be, in the long run, what is going to make you the most money. Because this is people that know, like, and trust you. At any time, you can just reach out to them, and you're going to make sales, okay? So and that's also why the more time it goes by, the most powerful it's going to be. And last but not least, I'll be honest, like, this is the best hack ever. The best mechanism you have in order to close high ticket deals, and specifically if you're a high ticket coach, now that you start building this community, now that you have case studies, now that you're looking to scale, you can start running ads to this group funnel over here, because this Facebook group is going to be a funnel. You get people to join your community, and you just have setters booking call with the people that join your group. You are the authority, you support them because it's your group. And guys, game over. At that point, you're going to be rich, you create wealth, and you're pretty much good to go. Of course, our company, that's what we do. So in case that you want help with this, we'll be happy to help you. You can go to the link in the description. You'll be sent through a funnel so that you can actually see how we implement this already. But I want to start talking now about the common challenges that people have in this stage, the milestones that you should be looking at, and last but not least, your focus as a business owner, okay? The first thing that actually stops people from scaling at this stage is not keeping track of numbers or KPIs. Because over here, maybe I don't recommend this by the way, but maybe over here, you just send a shit ton of messages and people book calls and you close deals and things were running smooth. But if you're having a team in place, you need to actually know what they are doing. And the only way your team can focus on the things that they need to be doing is by having an outcome-based approach to their daily actions. And what I mean by that is basically how many messages did you send today, how many replies you got, how many books you called, and you need to have data. And you want to do that for every VA, for every SDR, for every setter, for every whatever you want to call it. People that help you with their lead generation. Let's call them lead generators, okay? So you want to start keeping track of these KPIs so that you know what's working, what's not working, and if somebody's working or not. On top of the KPIs, I would say it's also important to have the end of day reports on your Slack channel so that everybody has some sort of accountability. Then suboptimal CRM management. And I have an entire video where I talk about the most important metric that every business needs to track, and that is people added to the CRM. Nothing is more important than that, outside of course, cash collect, right? But you get my point. Suboptimal CRM management, because now that you start adding, now that you start having more leads, you start doing more volume, the biggest bottleneck is always going to be that people are maybe not being added to the CRM, that people are for whatever reason not being followed up correctly, that it's a little bit, your salespeople might get a little bit lazy and they don't simply follow up. If you have a suboptimal CRM management, I promise you guys that you're not going to close deals, okay? So make sure to actually have a really nailed down process on how to take somebody from a cold lead to somebody added to the CRM, to a booked call, to a closed deal, for example, right? Then here's the thing, inconsistency in actions leading to inconsistency of outcomes, roller coaster months. Because this is a huge one. Maybe 1 week you were like, you tell your sales team, hey, you know what guys, I want to start doing 100 outbounds per day, mostly because I want to be focusing on content myself, for example. I won't be training you. And then the next week you go like, hey, you know what, like we are low on calls, so we gotta start doing something different, and you know, like changes in the outcomes and the process every single day, and relying on your feelings, because that's a huge one. So what actually matters is that you start building systems, processes, infrastructures that allow you to have consistent outcomes. So basically building a system is just a basis of inputs that deliver certain outputs, okay? So what you gotta do is just make sure that every single day you do the actual inputs that needs to be done for that day, period. And that's how you get consistency in your workflows, in everyday life as an entrepreneur. And also just a huge tip, because nowadays everybody starts talking about, oh dude, like you need a growth consultant, you need setters, you need to have BAs only, or you need to have growth specialists, etc. When in reality, guys, I'll be 100% honest, like this problem was long solved by Aaron Ross, the author of Predictable Revenue. And the way in which you can have this consistency in your actions and in your outcomes is actually super simple, guys. You want to have SDRs or BDRs, and that's really simple. SDRs and BDRs, what they do is they go and do the scavenging. They literally go and find people that might be interested in what you have to offer, and they add people to the CRM. That's all their role. The role of an SDR is finding people that are interested in what you have to offer. And from there, once you have people that are interested in what you have to offer, you can have your sales team and your sales people now focus their attention on the actual deals that matter most, aka the warm leads. So what we do is, for example, when we start doing outreach for clients, again, if you want help with this, you know where to go, to the link in the description. But we might have SDRs and BDRs sending messages, and we notice that, for example, this person here showed interest. So the process is, this person needs to be added to the CRM. And now that this person is added to the CRM, you can have an actual, let's say, setter, or you can have an actual sales guy. That, I mean, it's going to depend. It doesn't really matter the wording on how you want to call this. You just want to have two different roles when it comes to your appointment setting process. Because one thing is finding the people to reach out to, and another thing is to book the call. I'm not saying, just for full transparency, that you need to change the profile, etc. What I'm saying is the role and the skill of finding people to reach out to is different from the role of actually setting the appointment. Of course, a good appointment setter is going to be able to do everything, but honestly, what is going to happen is that it's going to take a lot of time, because let's say that one day you send 100 Instagram messages, but only 10 people replied. So yeah, that one setter can handle the appointment setting process. But maybe another day what is going to happen is that setter is going to send 100 messages, but they get 80 replies. And guess what's going to happen? Now he's not going to be able to reply to everyone, because it's hard to keep up with the conversation just because of human labor. Like the human factor is something that we cannot take from that, in the sense of how can you talk to 80 people at the same time, right? It doesn't make sense. What you gotta do is separate the actual SDRs from the setters, okay? So that's a huge tip. The next thing is doing too much and spreading yourself too thin, aka being scared of hiring. So this is a big one. I know for me this was a big one. I didn't want to lose profit at all. Poor management skills. So when it comes to business, always is your fault, and that's how you need to think about it. You always need to be looking at what you can improve in order to support people and your team specifically to actually do what they need to do their role. Neglecting the basics. This is a huge one, by the way, guys. And this is something that I was touching at the beginning. For whatever reason, people think that over here, if they were getting results with the cold email, all of a sudden over here they need to start doing Facebook ads. When in reality, what you gotta do is not do cold email once, for example, just for the analogy, but do cold email twice, aka more volume, more of the same, and become better at the thing. So don't neglect the basics. As Alex Hormozi says, what makes an advanced person be an advanced person is not that they do advanced things, is that they just never neglect the basics. Okay, so that's a huge one. And then, yeah, some milestones that we want to start looking at this stage is SDRs and VAs onboarded to supercharge your prospecting. You want KPIs being fulfilled out daily by you and your team, plus the end of the reports that I mentioned earlier. Quality content consistently on evergreen engine, aka YouTube, and repurpose to our platform so that you can start getting this traction and this community building that we discussed previously. You want to start building your community around your brand, meaning that you want to start building a Facebook group, maybe it's a Discord, maybe it's a Telegram chat, whatever it might be, and growing by 25 to 50 people weekly. I know that doesn't sound like a lot of people, but guys, it's just a compounding effect. Like 50 people per week is 200 people per month. And 200 people per month is people that start commenting, knowing who you are. They might share what they learn from you to other people, and it's just like a snowball effect. And of course, here's the biggest one, clients winning. Because you will notice, guys, that once you start having more clients, when you start doing these things, operations start to break, and that's normal, but you also want to keep client fulfillment at the center and at the core of what you as an agency owner or as a coach are doing. So that's a milestone. You want to start scaling, but keeping clients happy. And again, your sole focus at this stage is building a script for people to actually execute on, so you can focus on content creation and closing, setters and sales team managing your outbound prospecting, and BAs managing your community and monetizing more traffic that you get from these channels. Learn managing skills, because that's an important factor, of course, like becoming a good leader. And last but not least, maintain simple processes and systems, both in acquisition and fulfillment. And that's a huge one, because at least for me, I always used to think that becoming advanced was new things that needed to add more complexity. And in reality, it's just the simple things that you were already doing, but now at scale, plus adding a couple of things just like inbound infrastructures that you were not doing previously. But that's it for this video, guys. I think that this is going to be way too long for some of you, but I hope that you found it valuable. Let me know your thoughts on the comments. Also, if this is the type of content that you enjoy, consider subscribing to the channel. It will mean the world to me. Call to action time. If you are a high ticket info business owner or an agency owner and you want help with your prospecting and your appointment setting, feel free to go to the link in the description. We have a done for you model where we literally just do that thing for you, or we have a done with you model where we literally teach you how to do this yourself, so that appointment setting is never a problem for your business. More information you can see in the funnel over there in the description. But yeah, guys, I think that would be it for this video. So see you guys in the next one, and enjoy scaling. Bye bye.